Hi, y'all. My name is Cash, and I'm here to convince you of one thing and one thing only. Never, ever write a musical. Every November, there's this event that happens that you may or may not have heard of. It's called NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month. This month is famous for being an impetus for a lot of amateur writers. They decide that they're going to plop down and write 50,000 words in 1 month because that is the length of a short novella. Not quite a book, but it's on its way there. Now, off the top of my head, I cannot think of one successful author who pioneered their writing career with NaNoWriMo. I know plenty of people who have done it successfully and even more unsuccessfully, but none that have found success through it. And this is one of the many, many reasons that being an author, writing books for a living, oh my gosh, it is such a rough world. But nonetheless, people try to do it because there is a potential for success. And at the end of the day, you have a tangible physical product at the end of it, right? That you get to hand out and say, hey, give me $10 for this. And somebody out there, some poor sap, is going to give you those $10. And then you think, yes, there is my justification for writing. Now take that, except you don't have a physical product at the end of it. No, instead, you have a thing that you can't really do anything with it. When you write musicals, you end up with a libretto, a bunch of words, and you need more than just that to find any amount of success. Besides the words, you also have to write the music. And I have a degree in music composition, and I still cannot tell you concretely how one is supposed to write music. It just sort of happens. It is the sort of thing that takes years of training to learn how to do, and then even then, there's no guarantee that you can actually do it well. And when you write a musical, you aren't just writing a single song, which is hard enough. You are writing a set of songs, like anywhere from 10 to 75 if you're Lin-Manuel Miranda. And they all have to tie together, not just with a common story with common characters, but with common motifs and themes that make it sound like one whole work. I mean, think about a song from Jesus Christ Superstar and a song from Phantom of the Opera. It's the same composer, but two completely different styles. The songs are individualized enough in their separate works that they're very clearly distinct from one another, and that is so hard to do, even with a ton of training. It's not just about pulling that together, it's about the sheer volume. You end up with a book full of words and a book full of music, and even then, you still can't do anything with it. You still need people. You need musicians and you need actors. And if any group of people is reliable and easy to get their schedules working with yours, then it's certainly musicians and actors, right? If you couldn't tell, that was sarcasm. I am a musician myself, and I can say that we are the worst. Try and get a bunch of musicians and actors in one place at one time. Oh boy. And if you don't have money to pay them with, oh boy. Do you remember back in school, or if you're still in school, when you had group projects with a bunch of people and you felt like you were the only one putting in any amount of effort and everybody else was just coasting, and then at the end of the day, you still scraped by with an 85 because at least you did 100% of the effort, even if everybody else brought in like 50%, or God forbid, nothing. Well, in musicals, you have to have everybody giving 100%, and you can't necessarily guarantee that everybody's going to be able to do that. As the production process goes on, you might have a change in personnel that makes things ever more difficult. It's very frustrating. And it's just like those group projects in school, except there is no grade even pushing them to be to put in effort to be successful, because hey, at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to profit from it, not them. They might see a paycheck, And it's a big might, maybe. Unless you're going to direct it yourself, you're going to be putting your baby, your creation, this thing that you've spent God knows how long on, um, into the hands of a stranger. I mean, no matter how well you know them, your director is a stranger to the work. And they might not see things the same way you do. Even though you're the creator, you're not God. And it can be really hard to let go. The best analogy I've seen is when you have a kid and you send them off to school and their teachers are giving them all these ideas and thoughts, and then they start disagreeing with you. And this child, born of your loins, is suddenly not the person that you thought they would be. They're suddenly different than what you intended. And that can be really hard for parents. And I want to argue that it's even harder with a thing like theater because, hey, this is something that you thought was concrete, but nope, the director decided it wasn't. So you're screwed. At least with a kid, you know to expect the unexpected. Writing music is hard and takes a long time. Writing books is hard and takes a long time. Making art, it's hard and it takes a long time. You have to have the costumes, you have to have the props, you have to have the sets, and that all has to be made and painted and acquired and whatever by somebody or somebody's. And the time it takes to create that and even to plan it and to pay for it is so much. And getting all of that to work harmoniously with each other and with the music and with the words and with the actors. Dear Lord. Oh boy. That is odd. Perhaps the biggest point here is the money, right? Now, you don't get any money for writing a musical. Nothing. Like, you can spend 2 decades writing something, and unless somebody commissioned it from you, which fat chance of that happening, you're not going to see a dime for that work you're putting in. No, that is just wasted time that you could have spent flipping burgers and actually making money to buy things with and to live off of. No, you are just wasting your time for thousands and thousands of hours until finally you have a finished product. And then you think, my God, I've got to work with people and I've got to get the sets together and I've got to do all this. But let's assume, okay, big assumption here. Let's assume you get a production going and it's a success, resounding success. Who do you think paid for all that stuff? Because it likely wasn't you. The people that paid for it, they're going to see the profits. You might see 2%. And if you collaborated with someone because you're strong on lyrics and they're strong on music, then you'll see 1%. Now, that's not gross profits, that's net. I like money, it's my name. So this is probably the most damning point of evidence for me. And I mentioned those producers. They are hard to find, and once you do find them, they have to spend a lot of money, and that money has to be campaigned for, and it is a pain in the... Assuming you can find producers, they have to spend so much money to get this thing started. They have to invest so much. It is so hard to find producers, and once you find them, it is so hard to get them to spend the money that you want for your show to be a success, because for every dime they spend, they want to see more than a dime back in their pockets. And you gotta spend the money to make money. And sometimes they think, well, musical theater usually operates at a loss, doesn't it? So I should not spend my money so that I don't lose that money. Now let's say you have written a book, you have written the music, you've got the sets, you've got the design, you've got the people, you've got everybody on your side, you've got a producer that you like, a director that you love. Now, is there anybody actually in the audience? Very few people want to see a new musical, unless it's on Broadway. or unless it's got a big name attached to it, or unless it's based on something that they already know and are familiar with. Yeah, if you are doing anything that is in any way unfamiliar, you're not going to have the success that you want. You're not going to have those people watching that you want, that you need to be able to justify all of that time, all of that money, all of that effort, all of that everything. It's for naught if you don't have people there to watch your show. Now let's say you get all that stuff going and you do get people in the seats because you're just that lucky. Guess who else is going to be in those seats other than the paying audience members? That's right, the critics. No show in the history of musical theater has ever received 100% positive reception. That's just not a thing that has ever happened or will ever happen, because you could make the best musical ever written, ever known to man, and someone would still find something that they hate about it. We all have our touchy spots, and when you've spent, so much time working on something and you are so close to it and you are praying with every fiber of your being that it works out, that it is a success, that people love it as much as you do, to have spent so much on it, it can be really hard when someone tears it to shreds. You have to have a thick skin, and not just a thick skin, but an impenetrable skin. You know who Stephen Sondheim is? Yeah, he wrote this wonderful musical called Merrily We Roll Along, except when it came out, it wasn't wonderful. A lot of people hated it. It caused Sondheim, the musical theater guy, to decide that he wanted to quit writing musicals. How crazy is that? It took a huge amount of inspiration for him to pick up a pen again and start writing again. I'm so glad he did, because Sunday in the Park with George, freaking masterpiece. My favorite musical personally. But that's a whole other topic. The point is that even the greatest composer ever in the history of musical theater, and I will fight anyone on that, was discouraged by critics so bad that he nearly quit. So what makes you think that you, of all people, you who are not even close to the realm of Sondheim, could possibly write a musical? So there you have it. 9 reasons why you should not write a musical. There is one reason that you should write a musical. And that is because you have to. It's the reason I write musicals. Because I literally have no other choice. Life is not a straight line. It's a series of diverging and intersecting paths. And mine has gone in circles. And I keep coming back to this same point, that this conclusion that I have to write musicals. Musical theater is what I need to do. It's as necessary to me as breathing air. Without that urge to create, that pen in my hand, that staff paper on my desk, it's suffocating. I have to write. It overwhelms everything else. It doesn't matter about the time, the energy, the people, the whatever. None of that matters if it's what you have to do. It's what you need to do. I'm in that boat, and I'm sure someone out there watching this is in that boat as well. And I want you to hold on to that, because it's the most important thing. Nothing else matters. Thank y'all for watching. Don't write musicals. Do literally anything else unless you have no other choice. Now, if you'd like to hear more about my musical history and kind of understand more about me, then you can check out a video about that is somewhere here. I don't know where. I'll figure it out later. And yeah, if you want to choose what my next project is going to be, there will be a link to a video about that too. And I think that's all for now, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!